Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring some commentary from Bill Maher's show, Real Time.
That's right. Specifically, looking at his thoughts on that public back and forth between Elon Musk and former President Trump, and also his advice for the Democrats.
Exactly. We've got the source material here, and our mission is really to unpack the surprising comparisons he made and the strategic points he was trying to get across. So let's jump in.
Okay. Well, Maher definitely set the stage vividly. He kicked off by saying he was, almost obsessed with this Trump-Elon rift. He framed it as this really significant conflict.
Yeah, he really leaned into the whole drama of it, didn't he? The sources mentioned him comparing it to like a big celebrity breakup. He dropped names like Brangelina, Bennifer.
Right, saying they used to be so close.
And he even made up his own nickname for them, E-Lump, which, calling them that kind of reduces these, powerful figures down to almost tabloid level.
It does. And then he shifted gears using another really striking analogy, Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh, yeah, I saw that quote.
The specific line was pretty memorable, something like, if Godzilla was on ketamine and King Kong had a comb-over. It's quite a picture.
But definitely paints a picture, sort of an epic but maybe slightly absurd clash. So, according to Maher's take in the sources, what actually picked off this latest round?
Maher seemed to pinpoint Musk's reaction to that Republican funding bill, the one big beautiful bill. Musk apparently saw it as just total government bloat, which is something he often speaks out against.
And he tweeted about it.
Yeah, called it a disgusting abomination. And that, according to Maher, was basically the spark that set things off again.
Okay, and then the sources detail this whole online exchange that followed. Trump hit back pretty quick.
Right. Trump's response was calling it Trump derangement syndrome.
Which then led to Musk firing back about tariffs potentially causing a recession. Though Maher apparently made a point of noting Musk misspoke for a second.
Yeah, the whole brief erection versus recession slip-up. Trump then went after Tesla's sales numbers.
And it just kept going. Musk then claimed he actually helped Trump win back in 2016.
Which, in Maher's telling, prompted Trump to supposedly call Mars a S-hole planet.
Wow.
So then Musk referenced hail, sort of implying Trump had changed. Got pretty personal. The sources even mentioned Musk tweeting something about Trump in the Epstein files, though apparently he deleted that one.
Yeah, that sounds like it escalated quickly.
It did. Musk was calling for impeachment, talking about a new party. Trump apparently threatened to cut government contracts with Musk's companies. It was a whole thing.
And Maher kind of wrapped that segment up with a joke.
Yeah, a joke about the stakes being high, saying the winner faces Blake Lively, referencing her own legal battles about reputation. A bit dark humor there.
So a really dramatic breakdown of the feud. But Maher then shifted gears, right, to advice for the Democratic Party.
Exactly. In his new rules segment, he looked at the Democrats, especially after some election losses, and his main point wasn't about finding, say, a new Joe Rogan.
No, he was asking why they lost the old one, right, and people like Elon Musk.
Precisely. He argued these figures, who maybe were seen as more liberal before, were sort of driven into the other camp.
What did he attribute that to?
He was pretty blunt. He used terms like bad attitudes and bad ideas, even mean girl. He brought up attempts to cancel Rogan, or suggested Musk got a cold shoulder on SNL just for being rich.
So his take wasn't that they suddenly just flipped ideologically.
Not entirely. Maher's view, based on the sources, is that they weren't necessarily drawn to the dark side, but were actively driven away. He talked about the political pendulum swinging when one side pushes its agenda way too far, causing a kind of backlash that alienates people.
Interesting perspective. And his direct advice then for the Democrats?
It was pretty straightforward. You do have to win them back. He sees them as gettable voters.
That seems to tie into what some other sources mentioned about Democratic strategists being frustrated about losing male voters, especially with the GOP using platforms like podcasts effectively.
Yeah, exactly. One strategist was quoted as saying, the GOP kicked our ace with those voters on those platforms. It points to a real strategic challenge.
And the sources gave an example of differing approaches within the party.
Right. It mentioned Rep. Ro Khanna being open to talking with someone like Musk, trying to woo him back, perhaps. That was contrasted with the party more broadly refusing to meet RFK Jr., while Trump, embraced him. It shows there isn't one single strategy everyone agrees on.
So when we pull this all together, what are we seeing? We've got Maher's, very colorful take on the Musk Trump drama. Lots of vivid imagery there.
Definitely. And then you have his pretty direct, maybe even harsh assessment of why he thinks certain influential figures shifted away from the Democrats and his advice on how to potentially get them back.
It connects that kind of high-profile personality clash to these bigger questions about political strategy, about how parties should engage with public figures whose views might be, well, shifting or complex.
Yeah, it really challenges the simple left-right narrative sometimes. Maher seems to be suggesting that, the way a party acts, its perceived attitude, can be just as important as its actual policies and pushing people away or pulling them in.
It definitely raises questions. What stands out to you as you listen to this? Does Maher's idea about attitude driving alignment resonate? Perhaps it makes you think about how much the approach of political movements matters beyond just the policy points. This raises an important question.